Hello, everyone, and welcome to Philosophy Culture. I'm here as always with my philosophy slash research bro, Emils. How are you doing, sir?
Yo, good. You?
I'm good as well. I'm good as well.
Nice.
And today we will talk about who more exactly?
Niccolò Machiavelli. I hope I said his name, pronounced it right, but yeah, we will talk about him, his life, his ideas, and more.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Hasta luego.
Niccolò Machiavelli. Niccolò
Yes,
Machiavelli.
sir.
Okay, classic question. Why is this episode important?
Well, that's a very good question, as always, because it's a very good question to each and every person we have been talking about. But I don't know. I would say that, it was he played like a crucial role. Maybe not a crucial role actually, but he was like an important person when it comes to the Renaissance, and even nowadays when it comes to his political and philosophical sort of writings and ideas. I would say. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep it short, to be honest. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
so much else to add. He was a really important person. Was a diplomat, philosopher, and uh, yeah, his writings and ideas are still used uh, in today's uh, in today's I don't know, politics. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. How about you?
I will tweak your sentence. You said that he was an important person. I will say that he became an important person because from what I've read, he wasn't his writings didn't really become popular during his lifetime. They became popular after his death.
True. I think his most notable work, The Prince, uh, became famous in like 1932. So like five years after his death. That's true.
Right. So yeah, so he became a really important um, political philosopher, right? Uh, Historian. And a cool thing is that he lived during the Renaissance, together with, you know, not together, but like at the same time when Medici's were alive, which we actually did a episode on as well. And yeah, so it's a second episode of diving into the Renaissance. So it's yeah, exciting to learn more about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, my bad again. It was actually the book that I previously mentioned was published in 1532 and he died in 1527. So it was published 5 years after his death and not it didn't become famous after his death. Like,
Right, right. Because according to my information, the book Prince was written around 1513.
yes, yes, that's when it was written, yes.
Yeah. So makes sense.
Yeah. All right
Coolio.
then. So shall we start with his background, like some background background check? Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
all right.
So, do you want to do it or should I dive in?
I mean, doesn't matter if you want to dive in, you can dive in. Otherwise, I can try to keep it short, and then you can, I don't know, help me or I don't know. You know what? Just keep you're always doing the background check on that, and you're presenting it really well. So you can do it again, and I will just
Okay.
jump in if I have something to add.
Cool, cool. Let's do it. So Niccolò Machiavelli was born in 1469 and died in 1527, right?
Yes.
He was an Italian diplomat, philosopher, historian, and a writer who lived during the Renaissance. He was born in Florence, Italy, and lived in a relatively modest but well-connected. That's important. Well-connected family. His mother, Bartolomea di Stefano Nelli, was his mother, and she was a housewife. And his father, Bernardo, was a lawyer. And the cool thing about his father is that he had a extensive library, and you can speculate that it was uh, a thing that influenced Machiavelli's early um, education, I guess, his intellectual journey. Uh, and so, yeah, early life and education. Machiavelli's early education was typical of the period, focusing on grammar, rhetoric, and history. It's like not too much information that is like known about his youth.
Mm.
Uh, but his writings reflect like a deep knowledge of Roman classics and contemporary Italian political affairs. He also became proficient, like really good in Latin, which allowed him to study works of classical authors like Livy. Um, I'm gonna say these names wrong, but yeah. So Livy, um, Ta Taki Tacitus, or is it like Tacitus? I'm not sure. And Cicero. And Cicero, we need to do an episode on because I've heard like a lot of interesting things about him as well. And so, yeah, political career. Or do you want to add something, Costin, before I
No, no,
go?
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So Machiavelli began his political career when he was 29, and he was appointed to the secretary of Second Chancery. And Second Chancery was one of the administrative bodies in the government of the Republic of Florence during the Renaissance. It played a crucial role in the governance of the state, city state, particularly in the management of civil and legal matters. Um, and yeah, this position involved handling diplomatic missions and military affairs. He was heavily involved in politics of Florence and served as a diplomat to various European courts, including those of France, Germany, and the Papal States. I'm not sure what that is. And so during his occupation, Machiavelli witnessed firsthand the political instability and shifting alliances of Italian city-states, as well as the influence of powerful families like the Medici. His experiences as a diplomat deeply influenced his understanding of power dynamics and statecraft. Then, do you have like any information about the fall of the Republic and exile?
When it comes, not
Like in
really.
in 1512.
1512. Let me see. Not really. I had something. Oh, sure. Yeah, in August 15th, the Medici, backed by the Pope Julius II, used Spanish troops to defeat the Florentines at Prato. Oh, yeah. Piero. I mean, I don't have so much information about it.
Right, right, right. Well, if you want, like, I can like
Sure,
go
sure.
through it. Yeah,
Go on. Yeah.
sure. Um, but before we go back to Machiavelli, I want to like do a small detour and mention like kind of a little why the Medicis were exiled the first time because the moment in Machiavelli's life is when the Medicis returned to Florence. So Medicis were exiled from Florence, um, like because of a growing opposition of to the Medici's authoritarian rule,
Mm.
and which led to unrest in Florence, and then also the rise of, I don't know who this is actually. Well, I guess like an influential person, like a voice against the establishment, I guess. So the rise of uh, Girolamo Savonarola. Man, those Italian names are cool though.
Yeah.
Hard to pronounce, but really cool. Who preached against corruption and galvanized public support for a republic. And then also during that time, during 1494, which is like when the first exile happened, and Charles VIII, I think it is in like Roman numbers, right? So V and the three I's it should be eight, right?
Yeah.
So Charles VIII of France in, in, invaded Italy and triggered a revolt, resulting in the uh, Medici's being ousted from power. So that was basically why they were exiled the first time from Florence. Um, and now I will go back to Machiavelli's point in life. So yeah, so this is followed the Republic in exile. So in 1512, the Medici's uh, regained control over Florence. So they came back and regained control, and they overthrew the Republic, uh, which had gained power when the Medici's were exiled the first time. And Machiavelli was working for that republic. And as a supporter of Republican government, Machiavelli was dismissed from his post, accused of conspiracy. And the conspiracy means basically overall being accused of a conspiracy signifies serious allegations of involving collaborative intent to engage in illegal activities, and it often carries significant legal repercussions. So, like I don't know, like a plot to overthrow the government or something like that, you know.
Mm.
uh, and he was briefly imprisoned because of that accusation of conspiracy. And after his release, he retired to a small estate outside Florence, where he devoted himself to studying and writing. And from now on, I think we can jump into how do you want to do this, Costin? Do you want to briefly go through his famous works and like briefly mention them and then do like a discussion later on, or do you want to just save it for later, like
I
the
mean,
major
yeah,
works?
yeah. Maybe we could maybe not go through his works, but maybe go through his ideas and philosophies. Uh,
Okay, so should we just should I or should you mention briefly like some books he has written, and then we can later on just discuss the ideas.
sure. Let me just find where I wrote all these notes about his books.
And meanwhile you're searching, I can go through why Medici's were exiled the second time from Florence. So second exile happened in what 1512. Wasn't that the year that they regained power? Maybe it was like short-lived, probably. So Medici's regained the control with the support of Pope Julius II, but faced ongoing opposition. And dissatisfaction with rule, many Florentines preferred republican governance and resented the Medici's return. Political conspiracies, accusations of a conspiracy, particularly involving figures like Machiavelli, led to tensions that contributed to their exile, like their second exile. So um, yeah, just to sprinkle that in, and now Caston can take over.
Sure. Okay. So to begin with, I will just go through some of them because there are obviously a lot. But as I mentioned in the beginning, we have the prince, right? Il Principe tror jag man heter. I believe it's said in Italian.
Il
Uh,
Principe.
yeah, exactly. Something like that. That sounds very original of it. And here Machiavelli basically provides a sort of just some practical advice to rulers on how to gain and maintain power. And he argues basically that political leadership often requires ruthlessness, deception, and manipulation. Even though this is his philosophy behind this sort of what I just mentioned is much more than than just ruthless deception and manipulation, because his whole, you know what, we'll go through this later. I think it's better because I think we'll discuss this uh, when it's time, and it's much better than just go through it now.
All right.
Um, and then we have the discourses on life. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's one of
I have
the
no idea. Lively, I guess.
Livy,
Uh,
like
so
it's
in
like,
contrast to the prince, like that.
ah, shit, now the internet is messing with us. God damn
I can hear now.
it. Yeah, I think I think I will edit that part out. Can you like start over from the book, discourses on Livy and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So discourses on living. And so in contrast to the prince, like to the previous book I just mentioned, this one focuses on republican government. And he analyzed basically the Roman Republic, and yeah, praises its mixed constitution. So it's kind of balances the interest of the people, the elites, and the leadership. And here Machiavelli basically advocates for the system where power is distributed, right? And where citizens actually actively participate in a public life. So this is more like a this is interesting because this is like a contrast to the prince, right? Um, and then we have the art of war, and here Machiavelli basically discusses military strategy and the organization of armies. Uh, maybe this is not so maybe uh, I don't know how used this book would be nowadays, but I sure think that there are some interesting points that you could generally apply to, leadership and yeah,
100%, 100%,
yeah,
because like one of the most famous, I guess, self-help books.
yes,
I think you can call it the self-help book, but I think it's like also a book that you could, I don't know, just learn from in general. I feel like because these strategies on like war, because the book that I'm talking about now has the same name, The Art of
yes,
War, and
exactly,
by this Chinese, I think he's Chinese, or at least a Asian author, which is his name is Sun Tzu,
exactly,
and
yes,
yeah, so I it would be interesting to compare the two books actually.
definitely, yeah. Uh, Yeah, and then for example, we also have the, let's say, the fourth and last one, which would be the Florentine histories. Uh, and this is basically mostly uh focusing on his it's more like a historical analysis of Florence and its political and social developments. And here Machiavelli basically examines the causes of internal conflict. Uh, by focusing on, for example, factionalism and the tension between powerful families. This is interesting. Um, so yeah,
Nice.
all right.
Awesome, 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 awesome.
Awesome. So maybe shall I go through just uh some of the some of his ideas and philosophy, more of ideas, I would say.
Um, let's
Or what do you
see.
think?
Do. Um, yeah, yeah. Do you like how do you plan on doing that? Like, do you want to take like one book at a time, or just in general, like whichever ideas?
I mean, maybe we could just go through, I don't know. I mean, just go through one each time and maybe discuss it, right? As we did with the philosophers, if that would be fine with you.
Okay, so you mean like just in general, like pick like a like an idea that he had, and yeah,
Yes.
this okay, cool.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Uh,
Uh, or maybe should I maybe complete his biography, like like his end of his political career. Then we
oh,
can
sure. Yep.
go through the ideas to kind of
Yep.
make things complete.
Yep.
So yeah, end of Machiavelli's political career came, yeah, like came to an abrupt end in 1512 when the Medici's regained control actually and returned to power in Florence. He was dismissed from his positions. Actually, kind of what I said earlier. But yeah, accused of a conspiracy against Medici, briefly imprisoned. After his release, he retired to his estate and turned to writing, producing his most famous works during this period of exile. That's good to know. Although Machiavelli did not hold a formal title or a rule of high-ranking official, his roles in the Republic of Florence gave him deep insights into statecraft, diplomacy, and the military affairs, which profoundly shaped his political theories, which we are going to get into now.
Indeed.
Yeah, cool.
All
So
right.
go ahead.
Okay.
Which idea is intriguing to you?
Okay. So we start with the first one, uh, which is basically that Machiavelli's sort of philosophy was more grounded in political realism.
Can
And
you say
this
that
is
again?
interesting
Can you say that?
because
Can you say that again?
uh, here is
Ah, God damn it, man.
uh, yes, political realism
bro,
is
bro.
rather, huh?
Can you shit, the damn internet. I didn't hear you the second time either. Can you can you do a third attempt?
Okay, sure. Yes. Do you hear me now, though?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. So Machiavelli's philosophy is basically grounded in political realism, meaning that he viewed politics through the lens of what is rather than what it should be. So prior to Machiavelli, many political philosophers, such as Aristotle and Plato, emphasized the ideal state of governance based on virtue and justice.
Can
Episodes
can
on these
can you
two,
can you repeat that? Like based on what?
based on wait, wait, I'll start over again because I don't know what okay. Let's see. Okay, so prior to Machiavelli, many political philosophers, such as Aristotle and Plato, emphasized the ideal state of governance based on virtue and justice. Okay,
Yep.
so we have done two episodes on them, really interesting philosophers. So yeah, uh, and now Machiavelli basically rejected their idealistic idea and argued that the ruler's first priority should be that the survival and strength of the state regardless of traditional moral norms. So this is very interesting. And this is also, I think this is what is mentioned in The Prince, like the book The Prince, right? So he believed that most people are motivated by self-interest, such as, fear, greed, and so on, rather than, the sense of duty and virtue, which will result that the ruler that a ruler must base their action on clear and understanding of human nature, which is very selfish, he says. So this view, this whole perception led to the famous assertion that that politics is immoral, right? So it should not be bound by conventional ethics. And so while ancient philosophers often believed that a good ruler should be virtuous as well, Machiavelli thought that there is like he thought that personal morality should not be an obstacle to effective governance. So if a ruler can maintain power and ensure stability, their actions, whether they are violent or manipulative, are justified. Um, and yeah, what do we think about this?
My first thought is my first thought goes to Adam Smith actually, because
Uh-huh.
even though like he lived a few centuries after Machiavelli, he had like the
Yes.
same conclusion about uh, economics, like how like one of the core driving factors in a free market is that people function on self-interest. You know, that is the thing that drives them, which then benefits society as a whole in his like philosophy. But yeah, that's kind of just my first uh, uh, thought when it comes to what you just said. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I have this quote here from Machiavelli that politics have no relation to morals. Which kind of mirrors what you were just talking about, and what I personally think. I guess it makes sense that like yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have like any like specific personal like thoughts?
Yeah, I was just, when I read this the first time, I just got to think about this theory that when NATO was I'm trying to come up with an example from our days, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when NATO was established, they made an agreement with Russia that, they should not sort of extend
Expanded.
expand their what would you call it?
They're like
Uh,
territory or like alliances
yeah,
eastward, right, towards Russia.
yes, exactly. Thank you.
Mm.
And what they have, they that's exactly what they did. And
Mm-hmm.
then if we look at, Putin as the leader of Russia, what he's doing is, you know, many would say is unethic. You're killing so many people. But on the other hand, he's sort of protecting his own state in the sense that we had an agreement that you cannot enter in my backyard, okay? And I just see you coming like let's say every decade you take a step into my backyard, into my yard, onto my property. What should I do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right. I
for
mean,
sure.
sure, NATO hasn't expanded to, I mean, they are not trying to invade Russia or walk on the Russian territory. But I mean, as long as they had an agreement, I don't know. Do you see the idea or the example I'm trying to give?
Yeah, totally, totally. And
Yeah,
that has been like one of my like main critiques when it comes to this conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, because yeah, exactly like you said, that like in a way you can really argue that the NATO has been in a way, you know, taunting Russia, you know,
yeah,
because they have um uh, created alliances that are or have created alliances with countries that have a border together with Russia. You know,
Yeah,
so so I totally understand that argument of kind of not defending Russia, but like just understanding where they come from, like one perspective from like
yeah,
where they come from. Not to like
exactly.
justify, not to like justify their like actions of starting war with Ukraine, because like I don't know how much you can trust Putin as well. But yeah, yeah, like you said, it makes sense, and from Machiavelli's perspective, like, or from his philosophy, it also makes sense. Like you have to realize that these world leaders, and if you want to like be an effective governor, of your state, you have to be really territorial, because I think you said it, Carsten, that survival should come first, right? It was survival and something else.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, yeah, he mentioned that the ruler's first priority should be the survival and strength of the state.
Yeah.
And through that, you might have to apply some, violent and immoral uh, actions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, do I agree with it right now in this moment? Kinda. And I mean,
Right.
it makes sense. You have to kind of protect your people and, the country, the state. Uh, so I don't know. It feels like so many people are just taking you know, from the books, the prince, you know, this is where, and that's when they're putting Machiavelli on such a, when you think about Machiavelli, you're thinking of a political leadership that requires, as I said, ruthlessness, deception, and manipulation. But on the other hand, it is done to protect the state and the people. Uh,
Right. So he's like arguing from a good place, actually, like
exactly.
just to build up, I guess, or yeah, he's arguing from a good place. That's basically what I tried to say. But like, I think we could speak on as though like the thing I'm thinking about now is that according to Machiavelli, there's no place for morals and ethics in politics in a
Yeah,
way to effectively govern over a state. But the thing that I'm thinking about is even if you wanted to apply ideas that Socrates or Aristotle had about governance, like leading with virtue and like the things that kind of oppose Machiavelli.
yeah,
Uh, my thing is, wouldn't like, regardless of like what kind of, I don't know, philosophy you have about leadership and like ruling a country, doesn't the ruthless people end up at the top anyways, like especially in politics, since it is naturally an environment where the most deceptive witty people come on top. Like I don't know, it's something I'm thinking about. I don't know really how to make it uh a effective argument for something, but like it's just like the idea I have. Like, what do you
yeah.
think about it?
I mean, sure. And I think we have seen that through like leaders. through different leaders throughout the history, right? You can look at Napoleon, for example. Many would claim that he was a bit wicked in the sense that he tried to I don't know exactly if he tried to, or yeah, I think he had some idea that he wanted to become the ruler of the entire world or something, or like expand its borders. I don't know how much. Uh, and so for that you need some kind of craziness, right? Or I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because like I'm gonna go off track now, but like yeah, I'm kind of thinking about what Candace Owens said about the French Revolution, that it wasn't like a good thing, that the execution of Marie Antoinette was like a bad thing, because like it kind of reduced Christian power in Europe. Like she says something like that, and I'm like, I don't know really what to think about the Napoleon and the French Revolution actually at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. However, I think like yeah, I don't know. And I read somewhere that some I don't remember who said it or where I read it, but I think it was in the same, at the same time as I was doing my research about Machiavelli and this book, The Prince, that he said something that some leaders will understand it and some won't understand it because you need some kind of I'm not even sure, like you need something to sort of to I don't even know how to explain it.
Like, do you mean you have to be a certain type of person to understand or to agree with the theories
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
philosophy?
exactly. To agree in some, yeah, to understand and agree with it somehow.
Okay, what do you need to possess or have? Like, what do you?
I think he was mostly focusing on this like competition slash cra I'm not even sure if I should call it like craziness. It's more of a I'm not sure. And I feel like it's getting kind of fuzzy with all the up and downs. Shit. And I don't remember what it said exactly. I was so irritated that I didn't write it down. Um, but I don't know. I think
Yeah.
politics generally, you said that you need to be a bit, what did you say, Mills? Uh,
No, I just said that the unethical people, or my kind of statement slash question was like, don't the unethical people either way end up on top in politics?
kind of, yeah.
And that is where corruption always, creeps in as well, and politics and stuff. So I'm not sure how to or where to kind of place his philosophies, even though like I agree with them, but uh, you know they they're like, or this idea that you're speaking about, that you should prioritize the strength and the survival of your state. It can kind of be applied both for good-hearted leaders and for dark-hearted leaders, as well. Like it can apply to a strong Republican state, which is thriving, and also for a tyrannical state, which is like abusing its people. So yeah, I don't know.
Sure, yeah. And that's so interesting because he was against Plato's ideal states of governance based on virtue and justice.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, his first priority should be survival and strength. of the state.
Yeah, but I think the argument he makes there is that even though like I think he agrees like with the core of the, I guess, idea of being of having a good-hearted governance, but he just doesn't agree with the ideas of like virtue and stuff because thinks that there are too many, let's say, vulnerabilities in that philosophy of leadership. So he
Uh,
argues that yeah, he also has this really good quote, which I actually really like, is that before else, be armed. Is a quote from him, and I like that so much because you can totally see that in the United States. Damn, what was the first amendment? And the second amendment, like the first amendment is free speech in the states, but the second amendment is the right for uh, for the population to own guns, right? To serve as a protection to the First Amendment of free speech. So in a way, you can argue that the Second Amendment is actually like the First Amendment. So before else, you have to be armed to defend the good stuff, you know.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I
Hmm.
hope I didn't uh, uh, leave a half-ended statement, but yeah, I think I made a clear point. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. All right. And then since we're still in that, since we're still talking about, you know, being armed and stuff,
Hmm.
we come to the role of fear versus love in leadership.
Is
I
that
think that
your
would be
sec?
a nice
Is that your second idea, or
transition.
like? Yeah, okay. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, like the second idea or a second. Yeah, I would say it's the second idea.
Cool.
Uh, and then one of Machiavelli's most known statements, perhaps, or provocative, is that it's better for a ruler to be feared than loved, if they
Hmm.
cannot be both. And yeah, I don't know. People, according to my notes, people are like inherently selfish and fickle,
Hmm.
and love, he says, is a fragile bond because it's based on goodwill of subjects, which can easily shift in difficult times. Fear, on the other hand, compels obedience because people are more consistent in avoiding punishment than in showing gratitude or loyalty.
I love that so much. Yeah, 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 yeah,
And it makes sense. It makes sense, doesn't it?
for sure.
I don't know.
And I think the important distinction to make is that he, or in my view, like I think he is more so focusing of leading with fair to instill fear in the potential threats, right? I don't think he is like specifically uh aiming at that the populations should be afraid of their leader, or like really like yeah, fair, like respect, yes, but not fair, you know because then it would not be a, or I don't know. I think you can discuss that because I feel a leader can be feared, but still be a good leader if he doesn't do anything like bad or evil to the person, or like if he's just super strict, but like he's still doing the good thing or the right thing.
Yeah, I think I have a great example of that when I had a coach once. this whole quote makes me think of it.
Hmm.
I had a coach, and I think it fits very good with this sort of statement because he wasn't, or actually it was both. It was both like loved and feared by the team. But I mean, the fear sort of in the with fear comes. It feels like with fear comes also sometimes respect. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I think if you use uh intimidation in a balanced manner, it will
Yeah,
like uh produce respect, I guess. Like in some ways, yeah. But if you like overdo it, or use two extreme strategies of intimidation and fear mongering, I guess. I think it will like result just uh this discontent, right? Discontentment, if that's a word. uh
yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
and people will look for ways how to get rid of you, even though
yeah,
they fear you.
exactly. Because it was so interesting because this coach I was, or yeah, this coach, his personality was mostly like very like he had like a very fatherly sort of behavior outside of the, let's say, outside of the trainings and the matches and so on. But when it came to serious stuff, he wanted you to be serious and so on. I don't know if that would be fair though,
Why not?
but it could be fair in the sense that, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I will stop talking about this because I don't want to get into detail so that it becomes some maybe misunderstanding in that I mentioned something. Anyway, no one knows about his name or anything, but still, I don't want to come out. I don't want it to come out in like a weird way. Uh, but he was actually he was a great coach
So far,
indeed.
yes. So far, all the things you have said just paints the picture in my mind that he was a good role model. Yeah,
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion. So
And this is
yeah.
also something interesting that Machiavelli says in the same, connected to the same uh,
Hmm.
statement or idea, is that while fear is a powerful tool, a ruler should avoid being hated, as this can lead to a rebellion.
Right,
And it makes
right.
sense. And this is very true, right? This is exactly what I think you sort of mentioned and the path you took a couple
Yeah,
of minutes ago when you were talking about, uh, the respect and so on. Uh,
100%.
So yeah, our rulers should therefore use cruelty selectively and decisively to instill fear without going so far as to provoke widespread resentment. Machiavelli advises rulers to be both calculating and moderate in their use of power. Cruelty, when necessary, should be swift and effective, while generosity or leniency should be shown sparingly and at the right moments to maintain loyalty.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like so far, what we have said about Machiavelli, I truly can't see anything controversial about his statements. Because and like I totally see why they are controversial. If you look at looking at our culture, which has grown so soft and thin-skinned, if you can so to say, right? um, but yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. And you can't have everything equal for everyone. And you can't be loved by everyone. Love is impossible. You can't be loved by everyone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. And especially, I mean, what you could do to make this whole thing sound very inappropriate, or yeah, I would say inappropriate, is that you only take a part of his ideas or a part of his philosophy, in the sense that you, for example, only say that Machiavelli said that a good leader is, ruthless and uh, and manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
This is not exactly what he was thinking about. He basically mentioned that the ruler you know, uh, should be manipulative and ruthless when it's needed to protect, right?
Yeah,
So there's a difference.
for sure.
All right. Shall we go to the next one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And maybe the last one.
Cool.
Uh, all right. And then we have virtue and fortuna. Or
I
I don't
think
know
I
this. I
I I
think
I think I saw it um I think I saw it in one of his books. Now that you say let's see, let's go to his books. Da-da-da-da-da. But okay, yeah, you can go ahead and explain what it is or
all right.
what you mean.
So virtue basically represents, according to Machiavelli, okay, this is from Machiavelli's perspective, where virtue represents a combination of qualities like boldness, cunning, strength, decisiveness, and adaptability. And virtue was widely discussed by Aristotle and Plato as well, right? When they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about being virtuous. So it's about being balanced, and you can't be you can't be, for example, too courageous, but you can't be too
Shy or timid, yeah.
shy or timid either, right? You have to be something in between.
Yeah.
Uh, and so in he's further explaining that it's not a moral virtue, but rather the ability of a leader to navigate and control political situations. A leader with virtue is able to shape events to their advantage, overcoming obstacles and adapting to changing conditions. And here it involves both the ability to act decisively and the wisdom to recognize when to change course. I think I think this is very, very important for entrepreneurship as well. No, no, I
Yeah,
mean seriously. I mean it involves both. If I re-say it, it's like it involves both the ability to act decisively. You have to make the right decision at the right time, and just in general, take the right decision. But you should also have the
yeah,
wisdom to recognize when to change course and basically adapt.
for sure.
How important isn't that to today's world when everything is kind of, so fast changing, so quickly moving around? Uh, Damn, I like this one.
Yeah, yeah, like and then like I was laughing because I recognized the concept from the I think I'm not sure which exact entrepreneur it was, but like from the Founders podcast, I know that David Senra has like mentioned how you can manage your luck or fortune by traits like this, strength, skill, decisiveness, Uh, so I was like laughing because I recognized the concept from his podcast. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really good one for sure.
Yeah. Ooh la la. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Fortuna, or yeah, Fortuna, I think it's in Italian. which on the other hand symbolizes the unpredictable forces of the chance of luck and fate. So while fortune can shape a ruler's success or failure, Machiavelli basically argued that the leaders can mitigate its effect through the virtue.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
Like,
yeah, in a
I
phrase, yeah,
no, I was just gonna like say it in a different way. Like, a successful ruler needs virtue, like all those skills, like those
yes,
traits, strength, skill, decisiveness, to effectively manage the fortune, right? To um, explain the word like how leaders can shape their destiny. Basically, like, through the skills they can shape their luck or fortune, chance, whatever you want to call it.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And so in The Prince, the book, he famously uh links the fortune to a river that can be dammed and controlled if acted upon in time. But if left unchecked, it will flood and cause destruction.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I think we didn't we make an episode about luck versus destiny, sort of. It was a long time ago, but I mean it makes total sense, right? So when it comes to luck, okay, this is maybe not okay, it's not the same thing as destiny.
No, but
But I mean, if you think about it,
they are related.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, if you think about it, you can't control your luck. You can control your luck by virtue. So by having the right skills, the right, you know, the right mentality, and so on, the knowledge to basically make the right decisions, and at the same time also recognize when you have to change course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's also, so many people say that, oh, you're lucky. Well, maybe you're not that lucky. Maybe all of your decisions that you are making to that point in time have led to this moment, which is maybe, I don't know, very, very, I mean, the probability of it occurring is like very, very small. But since you have taken all these decisions and learned and gained all this wisdom about different, I don't know, things in your, let's say, area or whatever you're into, that might be seen as luck, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I like that.
Yeah. Me too, me too. Yeah. That's a good that's a really good concept because I think so many of us um once again my head is like only in the founders podcast right now because that idea I've like heard about it, or like the concept I've heard about it like a lot in the founders podcast, uh, that luck can be managed. You maybe cannot control it 100%, but you can certainly um, uh, manage it to to an extent where you are more exposed to luck. If you put in the work, you will like the chances of you getting lucky are much bigger, and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right, should I go through the other ones that I have real quick, and then maybe we could start
cool. Let's
to
do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
round this. Yeah. Okay, so then we have number four, which would be the appearance of virtue. And here Machiavelli recognized the importance of the public perception. So while he advised rulers to act ruthlessly when needed, he also understood that the leaders must maintain the appearance of traditional virtues. such as, justice, mercy, honesty, and this is to ensure their legitimacy.
Hmm.
Legitimacy. Legitimacy. Uh, so he believed that people often judge leaders based on, for example, appearances rather than their reality of their actions, right? Uh, and he also wrote that a successful ruler must learn how to be both a fox and a lion. So the fox being cunning and deceptive, and the lion being strong and forceful. So a ruler should know when to deceive and manipulate, but they must also present themselves as a virtuous and trustworthy, so as to gain the support and trust of the people. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
that's a good
makes
one. That idea really like made strong connections for me with the book 48 Laws of Power because Robert Greene speaks a lot about that in that book that you should that your reputation is like everything. You should really take handle your reputation with much care, which basically also says kind of the same thing that Machiavelli says that you should upkeep a good image. So yeah, it's kind of wanted to say that, and actually, it would be a really cool episode if we both could like go through the 48 laws of power, like the laws, and just I don't know, have a philosophical discussion around that.
that's definitely something we must do. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any other ideas or
Yes.
cool?
Uh, this is something I think we mentioned, like I don't know, stability and the state's survival as the ultimate goal. And this is kind of, I will go through this real quick because it's sort of related to the first one I mentioned.
Yeah.
And so, at the heart of basically Machiavelli's philosophy is the belief that the stability and security of the state is the ultimate priority of the ruler. So his political philosophy is not so much concerned with justice in an abstract sense, but with ensuring that the continued existence of the state. Um, so yeah, a stable and secure state protects citizens from chaos, internal strife, and external threats. And
Okay. Yeah.
and this is and I mean it makes sense why he was so kind of, why he was so much writing about this, because he lived in an era of frequent political instability, right? With wars,
Yeah.
invasions, and all kind of struggles. Uh, yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense
That
that it formed his belief in a strong and centralized leadership.
right. Yeah. I'm trying to like see how that is a like different idea or like yeah how it differs from the first one
Yeah,
because
no,
to me it's, it kind
I
of sounds the same.
yeah, it sounds the same. It sounds the same. It was just one of my points, but it's kind
Okay.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Okay.
would connect it with the first one. Yeah. So never mind that one. Uh, and then we have the republicanism and civic virtue. And then we have that although the prince focuses on actions and autocratic rulers, Machiavelli's broader philosophy, especially in his later work, Discourses on Livy, yeah, demonstrates his belief in the value of republican government. So in Discourses, he praises the Roman Republic for its mixed form of government, which balances the interest of different social classes, aristocrats, commoners, and elected leaders. So Machiavelli argued that civic virtue, in other words, the active participation of citizens in public life, was crucial for maintaining a strong and healthy republic. He admired the Roman model where citizens were motivated by a sense of duty to the state and were willing to sacrifice personal interest for the common good. And yeah, this is interesting because it's, you know as I mentioned earlier, when we went through the books, uh, discourses on life is it feels like it's like a complete different page compared to, the prince. I mean, in the prince, he's focusing on this being the leader that is actually, uh, protecting the state at all costs. Meanwhile,
Mm,
in discourses on life, he's more on the more leaning towards, active participation of the citizens in the public life. Uh, so it's interesting.
hmm
And I think it's also very interesting because I think that when you're writing a book, or if you're an author, you don't write several books in one time, do you? I think you're focusing on one book at a time. And I think, for example, if you publish a book 20 years ago, your opinions and thoughts might completely have changed in these 20 years period, right?
Um, I wouldn't say completely, but for
Okay,
sure,
not completely. Yeah.
you always evolve as a person, so for sure you will
Yes.
create new nuances to your stance. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, and maybe occasionally, uh, completely switch based on I don't know, some drastic circumstances, as like I don't know, uh, some new statistics that prove your your opinion otherwise, and like stuff like that. So, but yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Good. I think that was my last one.
Awesome, awesome. I have nothing more to add actually, and it was fun to discuss these ideas with you. Actually, it was good that you brought them up.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's always interesting to discuss different ideas and, uh, opinions that people have about, and especially from that time,
Yeah,
you know, because even though there are like how many years? 500, 600 years
yeah,
in between the periods, right? It's still, some ideas could be applied even in today's world, or at least you could compare and see where the world is going towards. I don't know.
yeah. I think you can definitely kind of see or apply his philosophy. Not apply, but like see today's world
Hmm.
through his lens, like in the politics, and make some interesting conclusions through that as well. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Philosophy Culture, listening to us babbling, and yeah, we hope that you learned something about Machiavelli, and we hope that you also enjoyed us diving into the Renaissance times once again. And yeah, there are more episodes to come um, uh, that are gonna be located in the Renaissance as well. So, yeah, we hope that this information will help you navigate life's spin. Yeah.
Yeah. And besides that, if we have missed anything or any ideas or yeah, any philosophies or so on regarding Machiavelli, or if you have any thoughts about him, don't hesitate to write in the comment section. And yeah, it would be great if you could subscribe so we can see each other growth. And yeah, until next time, I guess.
Yeah. Until
Or
next
for
time.
sure, until next time.
Yeah.
Hasta luego. This view led to his famous
Damn, bro. What the fuck is happening? Oh my gosh. Bro, bro.
politics is